Have you ever noticed how the loudest sound in the world is often the silence of an empty screen? What if the thing you are desperately trying to solve in your mind is not a real problem, but a tragic story you have secretly written against yourself? If you have ever felt anxious, exhausted, or suddenly invisible simply because someone took too long to reply, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may change the way you see this pain forever. 1. The trap of the unanswered silence. Think about how quickly it happens. You send a message. You wait. An hour passes. Then 2. The screen remains dark. Nothing has actually happened in the physical world. The air in your room is the same. Your breathing is the same. You are safe. Yet, inside your mind, a terrible storm has already begun. You begin to wonder what you did wrong. You reread your own words, searching for a flaw. You imagine they are ignoring you on purpose. You assume they are angry, or worse, that they simply do not care about you anymore. In the span of a few quiet hours, a simple delayed reply has grown into a complete, undeniable story of rejection. But here is the truth. Most of your suffering in these moments is not caused by the silence itself. It is caused by how tightly you are holding on to the meaning your fear gave to that silence. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that the mind is inherently restless. Left unchecked, it behaves like a master storyteller who specializes in tragedy. In Buddhist thought, there is a deep understanding that much of human suffering does not come from reality, but from our mental projections upon reality. We look at an empty space, the lack of a text, a missed call, a quiet afternoon. And because the human ego cannot tolerate emptiness, we rush to fill it with our deepest insecurities. Imagine a calm, dark lake reflecting the night sky. If a single leaf falls onto the surface, it creates a small ripple. That ripple is the delayed reply. It is a tiny, neutral event. But your mind does not just observe the ripple. It imagines monsters rising from the deep. Soon, you are terrified of a lake that is actually perfectly safe, all because you believed the illusion of the storm. This is what happens when we let our imagination spiral out of control. We abandon the present moment and step into a fictional future where we are abandoned, unloved, or disrespected. Think about your own life. How many times has your heart raced, your chest tightened, and your peace shattered, only to find out later that the person was simply asleep, busy with work, or away from their phone? How much energy did you burn fighting a ghost that did not exist? Ask yourself right now, is this thought bringing you peace or feeding your fear? Pause, breathe, observe the panic rising without making it your identity. You are allowed to feel uncertain, but you do not have to build a house in that uncertainty. You are not powerless when the silence stretches out. You do not have to follow the mind into the dark alleys of self-doubt. You do not have to accept every story your anxiety hands you, because peace is not found by forcing someone to answer you quickly. Peace is found by learning how to sit in the quiet without letting it destroy you. But pulling yourself out of this heavy mental storm is only the first step. And this is where the next truth begins, because beneath every panicked reaction is an ancient habit of the mind, firing a second weapon into your own heart. 2. The second arrow of overthinking. What if the pain you feel right now is not actually coming from the other person, but from your own hand? Here is a truth that is difficult to face. The silence of a delayed reply might cause a brief moment of discomfort, but it is your own overthinking that creates the deep, bleeding wound. We have all been caught in this cycle. You send a message, and the waiting begins. The initial delay is simply a gap in communication. That is the first sting. But instead of letting it go, your mind goes to work. You start checking to see if they are active online. You inspect the read receipts. You reread the message you sent, wondering if your words sounded too eager, too needy, or perhaps too cold. You replay the entire history of your relationship, looking for clues that this person is finally pulling away. You are no longer just waiting. You are actively punishing yourself for a silence you do not understand. Buddhist wisdom teaches a profound and ancient lesson known as the parable of the two arrows. The Buddha once asked his students, "If a person is struck by an arrow, is it painful?" They answered yes. He then asked, "If they are struck by a second arrow, in the exact same spot, is it even more painful?" They agreed that it would be agonizing. The Buddha explained that in life, we cannot always avoid the first arrow. The first arrow is the natural, inevitable pain of the world. It is the sudden rainstorm, the stubbed toe, or the delayed reply from someone you care about. We cannot control the first arrow, but the second arrow? The second arrow is our reaction to the first. It is the anger, the panic, and the story we tell ourselves about why we were struck. The Buddha taught that we are the ones who fire the second arrow into our own hearts. Imagine a person walking through a quiet, dense forest. A small, dry branch falls from a tree and scratches their arm. It stings, but it is a minor wound that will heal quickly. However, instead of walking on, they pick up the fallen branch and begin striking themselves with it, crying out, "Why did this tree attack me? What is wrong with me that I am always hurt by the forest?" The scratch from the tree was the first arrow. The beating that followed was the second. When you stare at an unanswered message and immediately tell yourself, "They do not value me," or "I am always too much for people," you are picking up the branch. You are taking a neutral, empty moment of silence and turning it into undeniable proof of your own unworthiness. The silence did not hurt you. Your translation of the silence hurt you. Think about that. How much of your current exhaustion is simply the result of firing the second arrow over and over again? Ask yourself right now, are you simply experiencing a delayed response, or are you punishing yourself for it? What is the story you are aggressively repeating in your mind? Pause. Breathe. Notice the difference between what is actually happening and what your mind is adding to it. The fact is simple. The screen is quiet. Everything else is the second arrow. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. You do not have to attack yourself just because someone else is quiet, because suffering is not a requirement of waiting. You have the power to leave the bow on the ground. But to do that, you must first recognize the impossible task you have assigned to yourself. And this is where the next truth begins. Because the anxious mind loves to believe it holds a terrible superpower. 3. The illusion of mind reading. What if the most exhausting thing you do every day is trying to solve a puzzle that has no pieces? Here is a truth few people want to face. You cannot read minds, yet your anxiety constantly convinces you that you can. When the reply does not come, we quickly become fortune tellers of our own doom. We stare at a blank screen and convince ourselves we know exactly what the other person is thinking. We imagine their tone of voice. We picture them scoffing at our message. We assume they are intentionally ignoring us, frustrated by our presence, or slowly drifting away to find someone better. We take a completely invisible, unknowable situation and fill it with absolute certainty. And the certainty we choose is almost always the one that hurts us the most. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the danger of false perceptions. In Buddhism, much of our suffering arises because we mistake our own mental projections for reality. We wear dark, heavy glasses and then suffer because the world looks so bleak. The mind, desperate for control, would rather invent a painful truth than rest peacefully in the unknown. We attach ourselves to a terrible story we created entirely in our own heads, and then we grieve as if the tragedy has already happened. Imagine walking into a quiet, dark room where a single candle is casting shadows on the wall. The shadows stretch and distort, making a coat hanging on the door look like a looming, dangerous figure. Your heart races, your muscles tense. You prepare to defend yourself. But the threat is not real. It is just an ordinary object, distorted by low light and your own fearful imagination. As soon as you turn on the light, the shadow vanishes not because you defeated it, but because it never truly existed in the first place. When you sit alone, waiting for a text message and deciding that their silence means rejection, you are fighting shadows on the wall. You are taking the low light of a delayed response and projecting your deepest insecurities onto it. You imagine a friend finds you annoying, or a partner is falling out of love, or someone you respect thinks you are foolish. You are fighting a war that is entirely confined to the walls of your own mind. Think about your own life. How many times have you been absolutely certain that someone was angry with you, only to discover later that they were simply overwhelmed with their own day? How much of your life has been spent agonizing over thoughts that never actually crossed the other person's mind? Ask yourself right now, are you reacting to a truth, or are you reacting to a shadow? Pause, breathe, step back from the projection. Remind yourself that a thought is just a thought. It is not a reality. Stop trying to force your way into another person's mind. Do your part, then release the outcome. Let the thought pass like a cloud drifting across the sky, because peace is not found by finally figuring out what someone else is thinking. Peace is found by realizing you do not need to know. You can let them have their silence, and you can keep your center. But how do you stop the mind when it is already spiraling? How do you turn on the light in that dark room? And this is where the next truth begins. Because the way out of the storm is not to fight the wind, but to find a single, solid thing to hold on to. 4. The anchor of a single grounded fact. What if the only way to survive a storm is to stop looking at the sky and look down at the dirt beneath your feet? Here is the truth few people want to face. When panic takes over, your mind will offer you 100 different tragedies, but you only need one single truth to survive them all. When the silence stretches and the screen remains dark, your mind starts building a terrifying momentum. The thoughts come faster and faster. You convince yourself they are ignoring you. You worry you said too much or not enough. You tell yourself that you always push people away, that you are destined to be left behind. The imagination spirals outward, grabbing every past mistake and future fear, weaving them into a heavy, suffocating net. You feel untethered, floating away into a panic that feels entirely real, yet is completely manufactured by the delay of a few simple words. Buddhist wisdom teaches us the gentle practice of returning to the present reality. When the mind runs away into painful illusions, we are taught not to chase it into the future. Instead, we call it back to what is undeniably real in this exact moment. In Buddhist thought, mindfulness is not about forcefully emptying the mind, but about anchoring it. It is the practice of observing the wild, chaotic illusions of fear, and choosing instead to rest the weight of your awareness on one solid, undeniable truth. Imagine a small boat caught in rough water. The wind is howling, the waves are crashing over the sides, and the sky has turned black. If the sailor looks only at the storm, they will believe the boat is already lost. They will panic, let go of the wheel, and be swept away by the current. But what does a wise sailor do? They drop an anchor. The anchor does not stop the storm. The wind still blows, and the waves still crash. But the heavy iron grips the solid, silent earth deep beneath the chaos. It holds the boat in place, until the storm finally runs out of energy and the water stills. When you are staring at an unanswered message, your spiraling thoughts are the storm. The fear of being ignored, the fear of rejection that is the howling wind. If you follow those thoughts, you will lose yourself. You must drop an anchor. You must find one single grounded fact that is true in the physical world right now. The fact is not, they do not care about me. The fact is, my phone is on the table and the room is quiet. The fact is not, I am unworthy of love. The fact is, I am sitting in a chair and I am breathing. Think about your own life. How often do you abandon the safety of the present moment to fight a disaster that has not actually happened? What are you afraid will happen if you simply sit still and accept the quiet? Ask yourself right now, what is the actual, physical reality of this moment? Are you truly in danger? Or are you just sitting in a silent room, letting a tiny machine dictate your peace? Pause, breathe, feel your feet on the floor. Look at a simple object in the room and simply observe it. Let the storm rage in the mind, but keep your awareness firmly rooted in the heavy, silent earth. You do not have to solve the silence, because peace is not the absence of fearful thoughts. Peace is the refusal to let those thoughts carry you away. But even when you find your anchor, there is often a burning urge to act, to send just one more message, to force a response, to make the silence stop. And this is where the next truth begins. Because true freedom is found in a space most people rush to close. 5. The space between action and reaction. What if the most powerful thing you can do when you are hurting is absolutely nothing? Here is the truth few people want to face. When panic sets in, your immediate urge is to fix it. But action born from fear usually only creates more pain. When the silence of an unanswered message stretches out, it begins to burn. You feel a heavy, restless heat in your chest. An overwhelming urge to do something takes over your hands. You want to send another text. You want to ask if they are upset with you. You want to post something online just to see if they watch it. You want to pick a small, unnecessary fight just to force them to acknowledge your existence. You try to control the situation because your mind has convinced you that any reply, even a sharp or negative one, is better than the agonizing weight of the unknown. But this frantic grasping is an illusion of control. You are trying to squeeze water from a stone, believing that if you just try hard enough, your anxiety will finally stop. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the immense power of the sacred pause. In Buddhist thought, between the moment something happens to us and the moment we react, there is a tiny, hidden gap of space. In that small space lies our entire freedom. We are taught that we do not have to obey every frantic urge the mind produces. We can observe the intense, uncomfortable desire to act without actually moving our hands. We do not have to answer every emergency our fear invents. Imagine a heavy stone dropped into a calm, deep river. The river does not rise up and try to throw the stone back. It does not rage against the disruption or demand to know why the stone was thrown. It simply absorbs the impact. The water ripples, swirls around the heavy object, and continues to flow quietly toward the ocean. But when we are trapped in overthinking, we behave like a bird trapped in an open cage. We flap our wings violently against the iron bars, exhausting ourselves, completely ignoring the fact that the door is wide open and we could simply choose to rest. When you feel the desperate, clawing urge to send that follow-up message, you are fighting the iron bars. You are letting someone else's delay dictate your physical actions. You are acting out of a desperate need to soothe your own panic, rather than communicating from a place of clarity and self-respect. Think about your own life. How many times have you spoken out of fear, only to regret the words the moment they left your mouth? How often have you chased someone who was pulling away, only to find that your chasing pushed them further into the distance? Ask yourself right now, if you reach out again, are you doing it from a place of peace, or are you doing it from a place of panic? Are you truly trying to connect, or are you just trying to stop your own pain? Pause, breathe, feel the burning desire to act, and simply watch it burn. Do your part. then release the outcome. Put the device down. Stop trying to force the door open. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. Because peace is not something you gain by forcing others to give you answers. Peace is the quiet strength to stand in the silence without reaching for control. But holding that empty space requires a deep shift in how we view the silence itself. And this is where the next truth begins. Because eventually, to find true stillness, you must make a quiet choice about the unknown. 6. Making peace with the unknown. What if the answer you are frantically searching for is not actually necessary for your peace? Here is the truth few people want to face. We are obsessed with certainty, but life happens almost entirely in the unknown. When someone does not reply, we feel robbed of a conclusion. We demand to know why the silence is happening. Are they busy? Are they angry? Have they moved on entirely? We treat the unknown as a dangerous predator hiding in the dark. We believe that if we just had the answer, even a painful one, we could finally rest. So we sit quietly in the waiting room of someone else's life, refusing to live our own until they hand us a verdict. We wait for a simple text message as if it is a life raft, completely convinced that we will drown without it. Buddhist wisdom teaches that our attachment to certainty is one of the deepest roots of human suffering. In Buddhist thought, the universe is governed by impermanence. Nothing is completely fixed, and the demand for absolute guarantees is a pointless fight against the natural flow of life. We suffer deeply because we refuse to accept the phrase, "I do not know," as a complete and valid answer. We forget that non-attachment is not about not caring for others. It is about trusting the present moment, without demanding a map of the future. Imagine a heavy, blinding fog rolling over a steep mountain path. If you panic and demand to see the horizon, you will freeze in terror or stumble and fall. You cannot force the fog to lift by screaming at the sky. You cannot control the weather. But if you accept the fog, if you realize you only need to see the one single step immediately in front of you, the journey becomes peaceful again. You walk slowly. You trust the solid dirt beneath your feet. You do not need to see the entire mountain to know you are still safe. When you stare at your screen, agonizing over a silent conversation, you are screaming at the fog. You are demanding to see the horizon of this relationship or this interaction. You feel that without their immediate validation, you cannot take your next step. You hold your breath, waiting for them to clear the air. But their silence is just fog. It is merely a temporary lack of visibility. It does not erase the solid ground of your own worth. You are not in the water. You are already on the shore. Think about your own life. How much of your happiness have you postponed because you were waiting for someone else to make a decision? How many beautiful, quiet afternoons have you ruined because your mind was trapped in the waiting room? What are you afraid will happen if you accept that you may never get the exact answer you are looking for? Ask yourself right now, can you let this moment simply be unanswered? Pause, breathe. Let the unknown exist around you without trying to solve it. You do not need to unlock every door right this second. Do your part, then release the outcome. Because peace is not found by forcing the universe to hand you a script. Peace is found by resting softly in the space where the answer has not yet arrived. But letting go of the need for an answer is only possible when you realize what you are truly protecting. And this is where the next truth begins. Because the silence is not a punishment, but an invitation to return to the only place you were ever truly in control. 7. Reclaiming your inner stillness. What if the silence you are so desperately trying to escape is actually the safest place you can be? Here is the truth few people want to face. Every time you stare at a dark screen waiting for validation, You are handing the keys to your own happiness to someone who is not even in the room. When we wait for a delayed reply, we do not just wait. We abandon ourselves. We put our entire day on hold. We stop focusing on our work. We ignore the book we were reading, and we lose the taste of the meal in front of us. We tie our sense of self-worth entirely to a tiny notification. If it arrives, we are allowed to feel good. If it does not, we are suddenly worthless. We leave our own lives behind to stand guard at the door of someone else's attention. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that true refuge can only be found within. In Buddhist thought, relying on external circumstances to dictate our inner weather is a guaranteed path to suffering. To seek peace outside of yourself is like trying to catch the wind in your hands. People will come and go. Attention will shift. Messages will be delayed. If your stillness depends on their immediate response, you will always be at the mercy of their timing. Imagine a beautiful, warm house with a fire burning quietly in the hearth. It is your home. It is safe, bright, and peaceful. But instead of sitting by the fire, you walk out into the freezing winter night. You walk down the road to another house, a house where the lights are off, and you stand outside in the bitter wind. You knock on their door. You wait. You shiver. You beg them to open the door so you can feel warm again. You suffer in the ice, completely forgetting that you left a perfectly warm fire burning in your own home. When you let a delayed text message destroy your afternoon, you are standing in the freezing dark. You are begging someone else to give you the warmth you already possess. You are ignoring your own life, your own breathing, and your own quiet sanctuary, because you have convinced yourself that only their attention can save you. Think about your own life. How many hours have you spent standing outside a closed door? How many times have you abandoned your own joy, your own projects, and your own peace, just to wait for someone who was not even aware you were waiting? What are you holding on to that is pulling you out of your own warm house? Ask yourself right now, why does your peace require their permission? Pause. Breathe. Turn around and walk back to your own fire. Take your attention away from the empty screen and gently place it back into your own physical life. Reclaim the energy you have been pouring into an empty space. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. You do not have to abandon yourself just because someone else is quiet. Because peace is not a gift someone else hands you in a message. Peace is the quiet realization that you are already whole, even in the silence. But returning to yourself is a continuous practice. It is a daily letting go. And this brings us to the final truth. Because the ultimate freedom comes when you realize the waiting is finally over. 8. The freedom of returning to the present. What if the silence you feared at the beginning was actually a profound kind of freedom? We began this journey looking at the heavy, agonizing weight of an empty screen. We looked at how quickly the mind builds a tragic story of rejection out of a simple delay. We saw the second arrow of overthinking, the exhausting illusion of mind reading, and the frantic desire to force an answer. But now, you know the truth. You are not powerless in the quiet. When the reply does not come, you do not have to write a story about why you are unloved. You do not have to fight shadows on the wall. You do not have to stand outside in the freezing wind, begging someone else to provide your warmth. You have the power to drop an anchor. You have the power to sit inside the sacred pause between action and reaction. You have the profound ability to simply observe the storm without letting it carry you away. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that everything in the physical world is meant to change. Emotions rise and fall. People draw close and people pull away. Conversations flow quickly and then they pause. This is the natural breathing of the universe. If you try to hold your breath, demanding that the timing of others always matches your fear, you will only suffocate your own spirit. But when you finally practice non-attachment, when you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, the heavy burden of waiting disappears. Imagine a vast, clear, open sky. The sky does not panic when dark clouds roll in. It does not try to hold tightly onto the birds that fly through it. And it does not chase the storms as they blow away into the distance. The sky simply provides the space for everything to exist. It remains vast, untouched, and perfectly at peace, no matter what weather is passing through. You are the sky, the delayed messages, the passing anxieties, the changing moods of other people. These are just the weather. They are just passing clouds drifting across your awareness. They do not define your worth. They do not diminish your vastness. And they cannot destroy your peace unless you forget who you are and choose to become the storm. Think about your own life right now. Look at the empty spaces you have been trying so desperately to fill with anxiety. Look at the heavy stories you have been carrying for no reason at all. You have spent enough energy exhausting yourself. You have suffered enough over words that were never even spoken. It is time to step back into the safety of the present moment. Ask yourself one final time, what happens if you stop waiting? What happens if you simply decide that your life is happening right now, in this quiet room, exactly as it is? Pause. Breathe. Feel the solid earth beneath you. Let the heavy illusion of control slip quietly from your hands. Let the other person have their silence, and give yourself permission to have your peace. You have done enough. You have worried enough. The silence is no longer an enemy to be defeated. It is simply a quiet space where you can finally rest. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. You can let go now.